Welcome to In Her Direction, a talk series highlighting inspiring women in video, media, and beyond. I'm your host, Brittany Doohan, and I'm here with Monica Medellin. She's a film director, executive producer, creator of Surf Girls Hawai'i on Prime Video. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thanks so much. I'm so excited to chat today.
So you're dedicated to expanding narratives surrounding women and people of color in sports. Can you talk about why that's important to you?
This passion started ever since I was a little girl. I grew up raised by a single working mom who immigrated here from Mexico. She was a public school teacher, and she worked really hard to make ends meet. Through those financial circumstances, she still always encouraged me to pursue what I love and pursue my passions. So I grew up loving sports. I grew up loving filming on the family camcorder, and she would watch my videos. I really think that upbringing influenced where I am today. I didn't always know that I wanted to tell stories about women and people of color in sports, but I did know that I wanted to see more representation of people that looked like me, more women, more diversity. A lot of the representation that I saw of Latina women was as the maid or the wife, these more traditional roles. And I wanted to see us as the main character of our own movie. So it really all started with the type of upbringing that I had with my mom.
I love that. So in talking about female representation in film and video, I came across a stat looking at female representation in US films by streaming services. 26% of directors, writers, producers, executive producers, cinematographers were women. Obviously still very underrepresented in this industry. Can you talk about what it's like navigating this industry as a woman and some challenges that you may have faced?
Yeah, every time you hear stats about female representation in film, entertainment, Hollywood, it's motivating. I want to be the one to help change that statistic, encourage more women to take a stab at the industry and be unafraid and unapologetic in doing so. It's scary to try to break into an industry that feels like it wasn't built for you, but at the same time, it's been one of the most rewarding journeys of my life. I'm not quite sure how much research has been done in the unscripted department, but what I will say is you don't need stats to notice the stark reality of what most film sets are like. I'm usually one of the few women on set. And on top of that, I'm typically one of the only women of color on set. So just with my experience alone and what I've actually seen out there, I think right now it's more important than ever before to hire more women on your sets. Make sure that your sets are representative of the diversity of our country. I don't come from a family of Hollywood execs or filmmakers. I didn't grow up even knowing that filmmaking was an option for a full-time career. And here I am doing it every day of my life, living and breathing the craft. And I want more people to know that this is possible for them too.
So I want to talk a little bit about Surf Girls Hawai'i. You're the creator of it, executive producer. It's on Prime Video. How was the idea for this show born, and what was the process like?
I think the biggest misconception about my journey to creating and selling my first TV show is that it went straight from pitch deck to what you see on the streaming platform today. And the truth is, this was actually a multi-year journey, about 5+ years of ideating, iterating, updating, pitching. There were just so many versions of this show before the show that you see today. I ideated Surf Girls, the concept for Surf Girls, back in 2019, early 2020. I was working full-time at the World Surf League, which is the global sports league for professional surfers. And I noticed that we were promoting a lot of the male surfers and a lot of the male heats in the surf competitions, a lot of, the male surf clips. And there weren't very many women. And it's not because there weren't women surfing. It's just we weren't promoting that type of content. So my goal was to equalize that playing field between how we're promoting the male surfers and how we're promoting the female surfers. Through that research and digging, looking for amazing women surfing clips, I discovered a group of young Native Hawaiian women who were up and coming, emerging pro surfers that were training under the Olympic gold medalist, Carissa Moore, Native Hawaiian surfer. And I just knew this was a story. I didn't know it was a TV show. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew that these women were so special and that they deserved to have a platform to tell their story. And I also knew that I could be the person to help them do that. So I reached out to, at the time, some of their parents because they were under 18 years old. I reached out, directly via Instagram, via connections, via my network, via email, like anything I could find to get in touch with these women. I did it. And we developed our relationship over the years. Through that, we developed a concept for a digital documentary series, and we were going to post it on YouTube. At the time, most of my traction in the industry came from posting on social media and YouTube. And through posting my work over those months, a leading women's sports media company reached out to me via Instagram. And they asked if we had any women's sports ideas for films. The first idea that I thought of pitching was this Surf Girls concept, following these Native Hawaiian surfers and their mentor, Carissa Moore. That was the moment that everything changed for me, and that set me off to this trajectory. The production company funded the film series. They distributed the film series on their YouTube channel that had a lot of traction because they were founded by 4 female Olympic athletes. They had major investment and funding behind them. And from that point forward, the YouTube series garnered 1 million+ views and was just gaining traction every single day. That's when Reese Witherspoon's company, Hello Sunshine, took notice and came on as an official partner and proposed that we develop this to be in a TV format. And that's when all of the learning began for me. I was a documentary filmmaker turned TV exec in under 2 years. And this was really the crash course that taught me all about how TV shows get made, sold, and the whole production process that companies at the highest level use for all of their production. So I just feel so lucky that, I was in a position to learn everything I did and share all of those learnings, along the way to show that I was just a normal girl, a normal filmmaker, and I got my show across the finish line in a way that feels impossible to people. And you can do it too.
What is one piece of advice you would give someone whose ultimate goal is to have their show or series on a streaming platform?
If that's your main goal, I think your head is in the wrong place. The number one thing that got my show across the finish line started with making the films I wanted to make. Make the film you're passionate about. Execute it, even if you don't feel like you have the resources to do so. Just make the best product that you can make with the resources that you have. From there, keep track of what went right, what went wrong, what your learnings were, how people are responding to it, and just keep creating. Because the number one thing that got my work noticed was putting it out. I think a lot of people get stuck in making the first perfect film. There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. Most of those perfect films are still inside of our brain. So take it out of your brain, put it on paper, and make the film.
Progress over perfection. Just get something out there. So alongside making films, you are also helping other filmmakers and creatives accelerate their career with your Film Accelerator program. Can you talk a bit about that and why that's important to you?
Yeah. I mean, through all of the successes and accomplishments on paper, as rewarding as that has been, I think the most rewarding part about being in my position right now is the fact that I can uplift other filmmakers who are up and coming, emerging, even seasoned. A lot of this information about, how to execute your films, how to sell a TV show, how to even become a full-time filmmaker are super gate-kept. There isn't a lot of information online. You can't really Google this stuff. So what I have is the experience and knowledge to now share with the up-and-coming generation of filmmakers. And that on its own can, hopefully help people skip years of pain and suffering, right? It would have saved me a lot of time if I had a formal mentorship that, helped me navigate the industry politics, how things work. You don't know what you don't know. So if you have someone who can share what they know with you, your career has the potential to skyrocket to new heights way faster than if you just did it on your own. And that was a huge inspiration behind creating my Filmmaker Accelerator program. Realizing my own dreams has been fulfilling, but seeing other people achieve their dreams and being a part of that, it's 100 times more rewarding.
Thank you for letting us see the mistakes that you've made and you being open about that. Learning from someone who has been along the journey is really helpful and valuable.
You're going to move forward in your career if you're talking to somebody who's walked the walk on a weekly basis. There's just no denying that.
If you could have coffee with your younger self, what would you tell her?
I would tell her to trust her instincts, her gut, and her experiences. I just feel like there were so many times where I got in my own way and I stopped myself from doing something that I was fully capable of because I just didn't have the self-esteem or confidence. Everything that I've experienced in my life, good or bad, has led me to where I am today. And looking back, I wouldn't change a thing. And I think, when I was younger, I was so focused on creating the perfect trajectory or making no mistakes. And that's just not real. So just be real with yourself, let yourself make mistakes, because most of the learnings that you're going to have are going to come from all of those missteps. If you're perfect, you're not going to learn anything. So I think that's definitely been something that's ringing true for me as of late.
You can follow Monica on Instagram, LinkedIn, and her Waves Made newsletter. See you next time.